Hey everybody, how is it going? Welcome back to the Rideshare Hub. My name is Dylan and thank you so much for coming by. This is the Rideshare Hub, a place for Uber and Lyft drivers to learn how to make more money and become better rideshare drivers. So this video is particularly for new Lyft drivers, and some of these will also apply for Uber drivers as well. But if you are an experienced one, or if you are a current driver, these also could very well apply to you. These are 20 tips for new Lyft drivers, okay? Number one, this is specific to Lyft, is that as a Lyft driver, you need to use a referral code before signing up. If you're an Uber driver, you know, they let you to sign up, and then within, I don't know, I think you have like 7 days, or however, even if you've been driving for months, a lot of times you can still use a referral code. But for Lyft, you have to use a referral code before signing up. So that's tip number one. All right, and tip number two, this one I didn't learn for a while, but it is keep your doors locked. So if you're a new driver, you're welcome. This is a really important tip. Always keep your doors locked, because what happens, sometimes you're going to pick up some people from the bars or even at a residential neighborhood. You get random people hopping in your car thinking that you're their driver when really you're not. So, and they just hop in, and then you have to like kick them out of your car. It gets awkward, and then your actual passenger shows up. Sometimes they even lie to you, telling you that's the wrong name. So just always keep your doors locked. And this one transitions to into my third tip, which is always ask your passenger this. Do it directly like this. Ask them, hey, what is your name? You always want to make sure that they confirm with you their name rather than assuming that you do have the correct passenger. So how does this look? You drive up with your doors locked, you roll down your window, and you say, hey, are you here for an Uber or a Lyft? And if they say yes, then you say, okay, what is your name? And then they have to respond to you with their name. And a lot of times they'll say, oh no, maybe not a lot of times, I have people who say, oh no, I'm not telling you my name, you need to tell me yours. I say, well, you can look at my license plate and make sure this is the correct car, like you should be doing, and you can tell me your name so I can verify. So yes, those are doors locked, ask their name. All right, tip number 4 is use apps that pay drivers extra money. If you're driving for Uber and Lyft and you're not using extra apps that pay you to drive, or I don't know, there's a lot of apps that pay you to drive. I'm gonna get into some of those in this video too, but also I'll leave some links in the description for you guys to check out. There's a bunch, I don't want to get into all of them because it'll just take hours, and I've already made videos on a lot of them. You can go through my channel actually and click through some of my videos where I talk about it, but there's a bunch of apps that pay drivers to drive and use their service. So yeah, check those ones out. All right, tip number 5, this is super important, especially for new drivers, but also for experienced drivers too, is just drive cautiously. Cannot stress that enough. My friends kind of make fun of me, and they're like, dude, you drive like an Uber driver. And I'm like, yeah, I know, I do. I drive super safely. I follow all the speed limits. I follow all the signs of the road. When I first started driving, I was always like, well, I mean, not always, but sometimes I would like, oh, you know, no one's gonna notice if I just speed to get to my next rider. I'm gonna save all this time. But really, your rider, I mean, it doesn't matter if you're a minute late or 30 seconds late. Driving cautiously is much more important. You're gonna get in less accidents. Your passenger's gonna feel much more safer, less of a liability, and it's just less stress-free. So learn to control your road rage and just drive cautiously, safely, and smoothly. All right, tip number 6. This is for new drivers who have completed at least 100 rides. You can use a tablet company called Octopus. They will pay you to put a tablet on the back of your headrest for your passengers to play games. I know. And then after every couple of games, there's like an ad that pops up, and then you guys split the revenue with Octopus. You have to do at least 100 rides per month. You have to already have done, like, be on track to hit those numbers. So make sure you're in order to qualify, hit that 100 rides per month. And you can start making extra money. I mean, up to $100 extra per month. You can pay for your groceries, your gas, your electric bill. I don't know. Get creative. All right, tip number 7, is Cargo. This is a company that sends you a free snack box. I've already made videos on them. You can check those videos out too. I know what I like to do is I make a huge long list and then I break them down to individual videos. But this one is called Cargo. Yeah, they send you a snack box. Your passengers can buy snacks from you. You don't need to go to Walmart and buy snickerdoodles and sell them to your passengers or offer them for free. It's not money you're spending out of your own pocket, which I like, and that way you can again split the ad revenue with them, or not the ad revenue, with the sale revenue. And some drivers, they say 10% of their drivers are making $300 per month. So those are probably like full-time drivers. But even if you're a part-time driver, you can make some extra cash too. So yeah, car go. All right, number 8. This is a phone, right? Tip number 8, Gig Mobile. I use Gig Mobile. It is a phone plan specifically geared for rideshare drivers. If you already have a phone, like an unlocked phone, you can bring in your own phone, and they will hook it up to you. Or if you don't have a phone, they'll send you one. They sent me this phone, the iPhone 7, and it's $12.50 a week. You get unlimited talk, unlimited text. I canceled my old phone plan with Verizon because it cut my phone bill in half. And so, yeah, use Gig Mobile. It's a no-brainer. They're geared literally for rideshare drivers. So yeah, that's that one. All right, tip number 9. I want to show you guys something really quick. Do you see all this right here? You can come over here too. Do you see all of this? What is this? This is space. You have space on your car. If you guys didn't know, there are companies now that will literally pay you to put ads on your car. This is just like advertising space that companies want to wrap up your car. There's a company called Rapify, which will pay you to put ads on your car, and they wrap up your car, and you go out and you just drive like normal, and you get paid for it. Yeah, for new drivers, again, not all of these services are going to be for you, and not all of them are even in your market, but I'm trying to get you guys to get creative and think outside the box on ways you can increase your income and not just be a standard driver who's just getting paid the normal app amount, but there's other things you can do to supplement your income while you drive. All right, tip number 10 for new Lyft drivers. This is, as an experienced driver, I'm just going to give you the lowdown. It doesn't really matter if your car's dirty. I'm just going to tell you that. On the outside, if you have stuff on wash your car maybe once a week, maybe twice a week, but your passengers really don't care if your car's dirty on the outside. I'm just going to say it. From my own personal experience, what your passengers do care about, however, is cleaning the inside of your car. If they get in and your car's dirty on the outside, but they get in and it's really fresh, clean, there's not stuff all over the place, that's fine. If you get into a car, however, that's the opposite. It's super clean on the outside, but you get in, there's like trash everywhere. It's like the seats are all like moldy. It smells, and trust me, I've been in plenty of disgusting Uber cars that smell like crud, okay, to put it lightly. Excuse my French. Yes, I know crud. Crud's a bad word for me. I know. I try to keep it really PG and family friendly. But yeah, I'm just saying, keep the inside of your car, focus on keeping the inside of your car clean and not the outside as much. All right, tip number 11. I probably spent a few months making this mistake as a new driver. After I would do a ride and I didn't have a passenger, like an automatic, like a new passenger, I would think to myself, oh, I need to drive around and find my next passenger. I'll need to drive to the most popular areas. And really what I was doing is just wasting gas, wasting depreciation, wasting wear and tear on my car, driving around. That's a dead miles that you're putting in your car. So what I do now, always, I drop off my passenger and I park. I don't park like right away. I drive usually down the street, so it's not like awkward. Drop off my passenger and just park. Well, I mean, sometimes I do, depending on the situation. But park, sit, and wait for your ride. Don't drive around wasting your money. And a lot of times, I'll try to explain this as simply as possible, but the way Uber and Lyft works is that they pair you based on two things, right? They pair you with passenger. They pair a driver and a passenger based on location, and then also based on who has gotten the least amount of rides, I guess. So for Lyft, even if you're the closest person to that passenger, you might not necessarily be paired with them. If there's a driver over here who hasn't gotten a ride in a while, you know, Lyft wants to make it fair for everyone, so they'll pair him with this person even though he's farther away. Yes, that's how it works. So when you're driving away, you could potentially be driving away from a passenger. So it's really in your best interest just to sit, wait for the ride to come, and they will come, I promise. All right, tip number 12 for new Lyft drivers is use Lyft as a side hustle rather than a full-time income. When you're driving Lyft, you really aren't getting any medical benefits. You're not getting medical insurance. You're not even getting a set wage. It's really difficult to rely on it for full-time income, especially for a long period of time, which is why I recommend using it as a way to supplement your income already on top of your normal job. You know, you could do 10,000 rides and you're still making the same amount of money as somebody who just signed up. So yeah, you might develop a little bit of better strategy, but the rates are exactly the same. And so that's why I suggest driving rideshare part-time on the side. If you lose your job or if you're in between jobs, sure, you can drive full-time, but I would use it as a means to an end to get by until you, you know, get your new job or whatever. So yeah, that's my advice for using it as a side hustle rather than full-time income. All right, tip number 13 is I highly recommend, if you can, drive for both Lyft and Uber. Lyft is really not as popular as Uber, and there's not as many passengers as Uber has. So some markets, sure, there might be exceptions to that, but for the most part, driving both Uber and Lyft at the same time will lead to just as or twice as many passengers. So what that looks like is having both apps on at the same time, and then as soon as you get a ride request from one, accept it, open up the other app, and then go offline on the other app, and just, you know, repeat that. So that way you are getting more rides, and you're not waiting in between rides, because, you know, that's just time wasted when you could be out making money. All right, tip number 14, I stress this so much, but it's cook from home. Cooking from home is the simplest way to save money, just for your average everyday person, not even a driver, but specifically for drivers. We are driving around, and driving for some reason makes you super hungry. You're sitting around idle, you're not even like being very active, but for whatever reason, after you're sitting down in a car for like multiple hours, you just get super hungry. So I always recommend cooking from home, because it can be really tempting to just go out and eat all the time. And you know, you don't want to waste all your hard-earned money. Tip number 15 is talk to an accountant. Talk to a CPA. When you're driving for Uber and Lyft, especially if you're making over $600 or if you're making thousands of dollars, you're gonna have to pay taxes on that. And talking to an accountant can really help you out, you know. For starters, make sure you're tracking your miles. Make sure you're tracking all of your expenses related to rideshare. So when you're doing your taxes, you can save money. But I just highly recommend talking to an accountant, because I'm not a CPA, I'm not an accountant, and accountants can really open up your eyes to the world of taxes and how much you might owe and how much you might save. So yeah, that's my tip for you. All right, tip number 16. This helps me out as a driver pass through the day quickly, faster, more enjoyably, is create music playlists. I have like 5 or 6 playlists on my phone. I have like some acoustic music like Mumford & Sons, Lumineers, Of Monsters and Men. Then I have some like top 40 music. I have some party music. And then I have some like chill Frank Sinatra music. For me, it's mostly honestly for me. If you notice, all of these songs, like, they can be played with anybody in the car. However, you can kind of, you know, if you're picking up people at night, you probably want to put on some EDM or top 40. But if you're just driving, you know, in the middle of the day, you might want to put acoustic music, but always keep it really low. Keep the volume super low. Unless they ask you to turn it up, keep it low. I can't tell you how many times I've had drivers who just crank the music the whole time. I get in, I'm having a headache if I'm taking a ride, because, you know, I take rides to the airport and all that. I don't know why they do it, but yeah, sorry, I'm getting off topic. That tip is have music playlists, because, you know, I like music. You probably like music too. All right, tip number 17, guys, is bring something to work on in between your rides. For me, I do everything on my laptop anyway. You know, I read on my laptop, I read articles, I do work. I bring my laptop, but sometimes I do bring books too. That guy's having a party in his car. Maybe it's maybe it's one of you guys driving, blasting your music with a passenger in your car. Bring a book or something to do in between rides to keep yourself busy. The last thing you want to do is just open up Facebook and then scroll through posts all day, people complaining about politics or whatever, you know. It's just, it's not healthy. It's much more healthy to listen to a good podcast or watch like a good business video or whatever you're interested in. For me, it's just bring a laptop or a book. So that, yeah, just do it, you know, trust me on that one. All right, tip number 18 is drive during peak times. What are peak times? Peak times are times when there are a lot of passengers around and times when you're not going to be waiting around as much for passengers. So peak times are early in the morning, rush hour, afternoon rush hour, when people are going to work and getting off work, and then also more peak times Friday and Saturday night, Thursday night if you're in a college area, and then I think it's like Saturday at from like 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. too. That's like another peak time. But you can look it up on your app and it actually shows you when the peak times are. So yeah, if you don't want to be wasting time waiting for passengers, just drive during peak hours. All right, tip number 19, we're almost done guys, is get proper rest. Get your Z's. Get, you know, hit the snooze button. Get your rest. Make sure you're sleeping. Actually, I heard guys, there's some studies that drowsy driving is just as dangerous, if not more dangerous than drunk driving. A lot of people fall asleep behind the wheel. Driving this, I mean, when you're driving rideshare, you're driving like 5,000 pound vehicles. Even my first car that I had, it was like a tiny little car. Still, like 3,600 pound car, 4,000 pound car. I don't know how much this one weighs, but still, this is a machine. And if you're driving and sleeping, you're falling asleep, it's super, super dangerous. Just make sure, promise me guys, if you could promise me one thing, is get proper rest when you're driving. It's super important. For safety reasons alone. And the last thing we want is for one of us to, you know, be falling asleep while we're driving. I know it can be tempting when you're driving and you're driving until 2, 3 a.m. The rides are just coming in. But if you're getting really tired, you know, call it a night and go home. Or if you need to, you know, stay awake to get home, grab a Red Bull, grab a Monster or some coffee. And you know, don't be afraid to just call it a night and go to sleep. So I do want to address it, even though it is sad, but yeah, get your proper rest. It is very important. All right, and tip number 20, this just sums up everything about rideshare. This is the final tip, so congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. This tip number 20, is just be nice, be respectful to your passengers. I know it can be tempting when you're getting passengers in who, you know, they're bringing in their muddy shoes in your car, or they're slamming your door, or they're being mean to you. Yeah, it happens. It's just try not to take it personal, you know. It's not against you. They're just, I don't know, they're just like those type of people who they walk into your house, you have white carpets, and they don't even think to take their shoes off. They're just walking in with muddy boots, and it's like, a lot of people are just inconsiderate. So I just suggest, just try to be as, it's hard to say like, be nice, but just try not to let it get to you. I think that's the best way to put it. Anyways guys, those are my 20 tips for new Lyft drivers. Thank you so much for watching today's video. I really enjoyed talking and hanging out with you guys. Hit the thumbs up button, smash it, destroy the like button, and I will talk to you all soon.